I wonder if Paula Venel's defence, when it comes to it, should follow the same track as that of Doug Barrowman. Doug Barrowman's defence is fascinating because what he actually said about 7 days ago is that it wasn't really his fault or his wife's fault. Of course, they lied. They lied to protect their family, as you would. And deceit runs in our veins. That's what we do. We lie, and but it's not really. The story shouldn't stop there. The story should stop with the incompetence of the government. Look what he says, and it's quite an interesting line of attack. My family and I have been treated like a punch bag by the media for the past 3 years. We've received death threats and a constant torrent of online and other abuse. This cannot continue, and the British public need to know the facts. And he said the stark reality is that the DHSC has brought this claim against MedPro at a time of increased scrutiny of how it overspent by so much, and when questions were being asked as to why the government was writing off £9 billion of PPE out of the £13.1 billion spent. How on earth did the UK government manage to distract attention from government incompetence in how it handled PPR procurement at a time of national emergency? We have explained the position on the BBC. Sorry to disappoint everyone, but Michelle and her kids were not entitled to any of that money. How I chose to organise my personal financial affairs is not a matter of public debate, and so it goes on. What it means is we may have done something wrong, but who cares, because the government has done so much more wrong. So actually, what are we to conclude? That we are innocent? No, actually, he's got it completely wrong. He says the dispute should be determined in the civil courts. It is not a criminal case, and it should certainly not be judged guilty by the government or its media spin masters before there's been a full and fair presentation of the facts. Well, no. I'm afraid he's got a number of things wrong there. First of all, the fact that you've done something wrong means you've done something wrong. And you are not exonerated or excused because somebody else or a bigger institution, let's say the government, has done something wrong as well. Actually, you've both done something wrong. That's point one. And point two is that this idea about the civil courts, and it's not a criminal case and should certainly not be judged by the government or its media spin masters before there's been a full and fair presentation of the facts. This is something which is brought up again and again, that, you're not guilty until you've been judged guilty by a court, by a judge and jury. Well, yes, that's about criminal guilt. That's about a criminal trial, and that's about a prosecution. But actually, if you are in the House of Lords, you have a reputation, and we can judge your reputation entirely separately to whether or not you are a criminal. Are you a scurrilous individual? Are you an icon of honour? If you're not an icon of honour, you shouldn't be in the House of Lords, or you shouldn't be in the House of Commons. You're a scurrilous individual who should be crawling around in the gutter. And that's how we judge you. We judge you on your reputation. That's independently of any form of criminal justice. And that's a justice which I think is quite important. Now, there are some people who may pride themselves on running around in the gutter, and that's fine. But if they're in the House of Lords or in the House of Commons, then we hold them to a higher standard. And that is why this whine, but we haven't been prosecuted, we haven't been found guilty, we're innocent until proven guilty, is completely ridiculous. It is a whine, which is why I put on the silly voice. It's a whine. Because you are there in the powers, in the corridors of Westminster, because you are an honourable person. If you are not an honourable person, you have no right to be in those corridors. And, oh my goodness, what does it mean to be an honourable person? It means to have the reputation of honour. If you happen to be a criminal, you wouldn't be in those corridors of power, would you? Be in the corridors of Wentworth or somewhere else? You'd be you would be in Parkhurst or I don't know the names of various prisons, but you would be in one of those, wouldn't you? Reading Jail. You wouldn't be free to wander around in the Palace of Westminster. But so it's not about whether or not you're a criminal, whether you've been found guilty. It's been whether or not you are judged to be honourable. And I think when you've lied through your teeth publicly, as you now admit you both have, you have no honour.